Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy Thanksgiving. I just want to say thank you again for everything. Appreciate you being here. Thank you to Jasper. Thank you to CJC. Thank you for being here and helping out the team. We really, really appreciate you. I hope that all of you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And in saying that, I want to go ahead and go over what's happened so far this week and what I'm expecting into next week. And a couple other little tidbits that I want to talk about is don't forget, so I am coming in here and dual broadcasting 30 minutes before the open to get you guys prepared. So yes, it's an alerts room, but I am giving you insight to my analysis before we start the day. Now the analysis was, right on. It actually worked very, very well, but we'll get to that just here in a second. Let's go into the room just very quickly so that everybody understands that I want you, if you are new or whether you're not new and you haven't paid attention or you just didn't know this was up here, make sure that you come over here, move this over, and you come in here and read all the different notes that we have. The neutral strategy, very, very important if you want to trade the SPY and the QQQ. If not, don't worry about it, but everything's here. And not only have they been very successful this week and last week and the week before, but it's an alternative. So if you kind of get, to the point where you're like, okay, I want to dabble a little bit in the SPY and the Qs, then this is a great opportunity to do so. Over here on Interactive Brokers, I have not been pushing out a lot of alerts because I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This is a thing that I've been doing this for a long time, and the market tends to be at the top when we have most of our members come into the room. It's not planned that way. It just happens that way. And I've always had this thing where when we first start a new room or a new service or something like that, I really want to be a little bit more laid back than I typically am, because to me, it's almost like buying at the top, if you will. So what I'm trying to do is digest, overall, and just kind of zen out a little bit, teach you guys, talk to you a little bit more. My allocations are smaller. I talked about that this morning. So I'm keeping it really real, if you will, smaller, and I'm being a little bit looser with my positions. Okay. So again, we'll get to allocation and percentage here in a second, because I saw a question in here today that I really liked, and I was looking across here, and it was CJC answering another trader about how much he specifically puts into particular trades and so forth. So I kind of want to riff off the back end of that and tell you kind of how I do the same thing so that you guys understand as well. Okay. All right. So the morning trend, why is this important? Basically, I come in here and I say, hey guys, a lot of economic reports this morning. See below, overnight price got very close to our fib extension zone and backed off today. So the thing that was a little frustrating is if you look at this, price had moved here, and as a supply and demand trader, this is where I think Interactive Broker is pretty cool. If you took the idea of going long with me, whether you buy butterfly or you just go a straight up call, you can use that Interactive Broker, and you could have taken your profits at nighttime, and or even right before the bell opened. All right. And so we don't get that option in Thinkorswim. Okay. Because price moved close to my target, it's always like a warning. It's like, uh-oh, we're about to hit a target. My targets are great for rejection. We see a rejection, and sure enough, that's what happened. Again, we'll get more into the details on the charts here in a few minutes. But why is this important? Because if you like to do iron condors, iron flies, then you want to be paying attention to my expected ES range. And then on that computer behind me, I'm usually showing you guys what I expect for the daily range, which has been spot on if you just pay attention to it. So you could be selling condors around those levels as well. Although this is an alert service, I'm giving you a lot more information than just an alert. And if you want it, it's there. If not, don't worry about it. Over here, the SPX weekly review. Well, let's go ahead and just kind of come down here. And that was the catalyst that I was talking about. And SPX review, I'm trying to think out how I want to do this. I'm going to be very honest with you, because I do API alerts. I've never, ever, ever wanted to do Excel spreadsheets. But I was thinking to myself, I'm like, well, this is not a small room. It's a big room. But because it's so concentrated on one instrument, I don't expect there to be a ton of alerts. Of course, if things get really fun and exciting and trendy, as in there's trend in the market, then yes, you could probably see a little bit more than 2 to 3 alerts a day. But again, we're not quite there at the moment. Things are very choppy. Okay. I'm asking if any of you have a spreadsheet that I could use where I could plug in trades, and I never do this, and that's why I'm asking. I think it would be easier to kind of track that way if you're coming in and you just want to see instead of coming over here. And it might actually be quicker on our review instead of scrolling through here trying to look at the dates and try to understand things. I could come in here at the end of the day and go ahead and discuss what we've taken and so forth, and it would just be a quicker process. All right, so Aspen, she's barking. Usually that means it's bullish in the market. So I haven't said that in a long time, but you guys can see here the market's finally moving up kind of slowly here. All right, so far what I've done is again I'm trying to figure out what I want this page to look like. Um, I am sticking the video here at the end of the week, or sorry, on Sunday, so that you guys can come over here and take a quick review. Right now, I went ahead and this is what made me think about this spreadsheet, is that I was writing in the trades and going to look, and I just want to make it, pretty brief. I just want to say, hey, we had, like in this position, we made 41.8%, which that is wrong right there. So come over here, and I want to say how much we made per contract. If something expired, I want to talk about that. If I take a stop on something, I'll put stopped, and then I'll put the amount per contract that we lost. Tuesday, closed a butterfly for 48%, $415 a contract. I took very, very minor profits. This is the thing. If you look in the alerts, you'll see the notes. If you just look on here, you're not going to understand what happened during this time. So we made a really nice gain here, and these actually did really, really well. But I took a very small amount and then put them into lotto-sized trades just to see if we could continue moving towards that 50 level that week, and they didn't work out. So again, $415 a contract here, and then you add these things up right here, and that would be about $60 or so. Okay, Wednesday, today, a little disappointing again. We were up about 30% on these, and I could have sold, but because of a little bit of repetition and buying the dip and it working out, I wanted to be a little bit more, I guess you could say, patient. But being patient, it got aggressive very quickly to the downside, and then before you know it, the butterfly's not worth much. So for me, it just wasn't worth cutting. Now, for you guys, you may be different. If you feel like you need to cut something, please do so. It's your money. But for me, I'm a little bit more open to being flexible, especially with spreads. So that leads me to talking about allocation. So let's speak allocation very quickly. So if you see me taking trades that I would say at least above $500 a contract, know that my intentions are not to let them go to zero. Okay, so my intention is not to let them go to zero if they're above 500 bucks. Okay, and quite honestly, if they're probably over 250, I'm being a little bit more careful on whether or not I want to get stopped and so forth. Okay. On trades that you see that I'm taking that are anywhere between, let's say, 35 cents to $1, these are pretty much fall into what I consider a lotto type trade. I'm still using my overall technicals to take the trade, but this is very small size, and I don't want to take a stop on something this small. Now, the difference would be if I take a 35-cent option or a 50-cent option and I put thousands of dollars into it, then I will tell you I'm putting a stop on it. But most likely, if I'm putting thousands of dollars, it's going to be a much higher cost on an option. Okay, So for example, our butterfly or my butterfly that I put on this afternoon going into Friday is $635. Sorry, going into Monday is $635. My intention is not to allow this to go to zero. So over that 500 threshold, I start getting a lot more, I guess, a little bit more micromanagement on the stop side if I can help it. But you have to understand that sometimes things move so quickly that the value of the option, I just want to give you a quick idea. Let's say that the value of the option is $600, right? And I mean, you could literally, in the SPX world, I could use the restroom, I could go make a coffee, I could go have a conversation and come back. And with one swoop of a candle, this thing could look like $125. All right. So for me, if it's early in the day, it really comes down to, you know, where are we on the curve of what time of the day it is, right? So if my option goes from 6 to 1, like in a blink, and it's only 9:30, and I still have several hours, I'm a lot more lenient with it, and I want to give it the flexibility. I've already lost, you know, a majority of that trade. So just for me, again, I'm very flexible with that. It's a little bit different if it's a slow type of day and it's really, really slow, and I just see that it's burning and it's dying and it's in that 500 plus range, then I'm going to take it off. I'm going to take the stop. So in summary, I do want to manage bigger trades, but it really depends on the time of day. It depends on how fast something happens. So for example, today was just a 200 and something dollar trade. All right. And it was slow at first, but then it happened so quickly that it just wasn't worth it for me to take the trade off. Matter of fact, the better thing for me to do was buy back the body and see if we could get some kind of push to the upside. All right. And that didn't happen. We broke through a couple zones. We made it all the way back to the origin of the zone where we keep coming back. And this was the better place to buy. But even then, you know, it was difficult. This worked. 50% worked, you know, it popped here, and then down here you had to take a stab at it down at 6,000, which is pretty common. It's a round number, and it's easy in hindsight to say, hey, all we had to do was wait for a gap fill on the SPX or wait for a round number before we went long. But not everyone's perfect, so sometimes, you know, things like this are going to happen. I talked about allocation. I think that's important. If you guys have more questions around that, please ask me. I talked about the fact that I don't feel like the market's been, you know, very trendy, if you will. So it's not been trending. So therefore, my allocations really come down quite a bit. So I don't have a lot on that allocation for right now. Once I start increasing allocation, you will see more stops on the positions. Let's talk about the premium charts really fast. So premium charts, I have not taken a lot of trades once again because I don't feel like the market's been trending very well, and so my risk to reward for the most part hasn't been that great. Now there have been a couple awesome trades that I could have taken, but I'd already come into the market with butterflies and so forth that worked out. So if I come in with a position, if I already made money in a position for the day, then I'm not eager to get into a bunch of different trades, okay? So again, always feel free to ask me questions. I really appreciate you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Have a wonderful weekend. And thanks again, and cannot wait to open up Friday morning with you guys. Thank you so much.